because the tone was set when Michigan shocked America by upsetting Ohio State as a 20-point dog. Ryan Day put together one of the worst game plans I've seen. I've defended Ryan Day for years, but dude, Michigan will never be weaker than this. You got to beat them at home. Like that's embarrassing. But this is what Michigan did. And after the game, they all came out as a team, planted the Michigan flag on the big O logo at the horseshoe in Ohio State. By the way, it was repeated later that night by multiple teams. Florida did it against Florida State, planted the flag at midfield. But to go back to the Michigan one. So there was a lot of controversy because it caused a big brawl on the field. There was mace and pepper spray. That went too far. This is not a criminal scene. These guys are not, bandits. I mean, come on, like that. The pepper spray thing that went over the line. Separate them. Do what you got to do. Do not pepper spray college athletes for not committing a crime. But there's been a lot of controversy. Oh, they got to ban the flag planting in the sport. To which I say, if you don't want them to plant your flag on your home field, I got a crazy idea. Maybe even revolutionary. Just a suggestion. What if you beat them? It's an idea. Because I think it's safe to say that if Ohio State does what they should have done, and that is win 41-17 against Michigan, maybe the flag wouldn't have been planted by a 6-6 Michigan Wolverines team that gets trounced by their biggest rival on the road. It probably wouldn't have happened. Florida State wasn't one of the biggest jokes in college football. They probably wouldn't have had their flag planted by the Florida Gators at midfield in Tallahassee. And the same could be said. Arizona State, I thought this was cool. Arizona State against Arizona planted a Triton at midfield. That was creative. And then you had, who else? North Carolina did it against NC State. I mean, it was, I think NC State did it against North Carolina. My thing is this. So it's a tough spot. I heard someone say today, and it's an interesting point. If you're a player on the home team and the entire squad goes out there, plants a flag on your logo, you're gonna respond. Prime example, years ago, Cowboys fans and Niners fans remember this. Terrell Owens catches a touchdown in Dallas, in Texas Stadium, runs from the end zone to the big blue star at midfield, and he didn't second time he planted the football in the star. The first time he basked in the glory of God at the star in Texas Stadium, and both times a Cowboy, Emmitt Smith, legend, and George Teague objected to it. They planted him at midfield. They had a problem with it, as they should. Celtics fans were outraged when Kyrie Irving, stomped on Lucky at midcourt. Like that, man, that's our logo. Don't disrespect us. You got a right to respond. I get it. But at the same time, beat them. See, I'm of the mindset. This is just me. If you take me down, kind of have a right to do whatever you do. Again, there's certain lines you're not going to cross. You're not going to, don't flip off the stadium. That's, plant the flag at midfield. You came in Ohio State and you kind of embarrassed them. It was a close game, obviously. Took a game-winning field goal under a minute, but you kind of embarrassed Ohio State given the circumstances of that game. You have a right to do whatever you want. It's a rivalry. But why even call it rivalry week if we don't like each other? Or if we do like each other, rather? I mean, if Auburn had upset Alabama at Bryant-Denny Stadium, plant the Auburn flag. Have at it. Plant that sucker on that big, that big A at midfield in Alabama. Have at it. You beat them. To the victors goes the spoils, baby. You celebrate however you want. So I think it showed especially from Ohio State, a certain level of sensitivity, entitlement, arrogance that you go out there, dog it, and get punked for 60 minutes. And now you got a problem. Now you're going to fight them now that they're planting the flag on your logo. Not that, by the way, not that Ohio State shouldn't have had a problem with that. That's your logo. You play for the O and the horseshoe and all that. You should be upset. Would rather you be, I think Buckeyes fans would probably agree with me. I'd rather you be a little bit more upset that Michigan is pushing you around, that Ohio State, for reasons I can't quite comprehend, is trying to win who can be more physical battle with Michigan when they would absolutely torch them on the perimeters against Michigan's beat-up defense, beat-up secondary to be precise. I'd be more upset about that. I wish the Ohio State players were more upset about that than a flag going on their logo. And Ryan Day, too. Again, defended Ryan Day for years. I have. My thing was like, hey, he's losing to Jim Harbaugh. A lot of people do that. Jim Harbaugh's a better coach. But like Fox shows the angle of Ryan Day standing there on the field. Looks like he's got hands on hips and just kind of like staring as if it's like, bro, Michigan's 7-5. You're not going to play them again until next year. It's not like a situation where we'll be like, oh, we'll see you again. No, Michigan's 7-5, going to play in some meaningless bowl game and be back next year, and we'll see what they are. So, listen, on the Ohio State's part, I thought it was clown behavior by everybody involved, players, coaches. In the case of Michigan, to the victors goes the spoils, baby. You do what you want to do. I'd say the overall majority of Michigan fans didn't think they had a shot to win this game. Forget make it close. Didn't think they had a shot to win this game. And they did. Shocked America. Turn the playoff race, or at least play part in turning the playoff race upside down. Now Ohio State, rather than potentially getting a bye if they were to beat Oregon next week, they're probably going to have to go on the road potentially. Maybe. We'll see what the rankings look like. So I'll tell you what, I think there's a level of sensitivity that I'm seeing from, it's like, win with class. It's like, why call it rivalry week? Like, do we like each other or not? Like, that's something that I really struggle with. Is I call it like the Draymond Green syndrome. Is like, be like, we want physical, tough guys in the NBA. I hate Draymond Green. It's like, well, did you want it back, or let's be a little bit more consistent here, because Lambeer was doing way worse things than Draymond. So was Rodman. Same thing a little bit in the celebration sports. It's like, it's too buddy. These guys like each other too much. And then they plant the flag in midfield. I don't know. Like to see a little bit more consistency on that front. You know? Michigan's classless. Like, they like them. They don't like Ohio State. It's the biggest rivalry in college football. They literally call it the game. Kind of self-explanatory. The game. I don't know. Seemed overly sensitive by Ohio State fans and by college football fans who had a problem with their rival teams beating them. Don't be mad at the rivals. Be mad at your players. Be mad at your coaches for not beating them. Arizona fans, North Carolina fans. Sark for Texas, they beat Texas A&M, and the players were going to plant the flag at the Texas A&M logo at Kyle Field, and Sark, stopped him from doing it. Listen, to each their own. I'm not going to criticize Sark for doing that, because it probably would have started a brawl, and Sark is not looking for guys to get suspended for the SEC championship game. But that's the one thing too, and then we'll move on. Then we'll go to break. That's one thing too I'm hearing is, you got to suspend players for conference title games. Like, no, you don't. If it's like the fourth stringer, it doesn't matter either way. But we want to see that. Like, there's not really. I was talking about this with my co-host Asher. Shout out to Asher Moore, triple option co-host. Please check our show out every Monday, 10 a.m. to noon, and every Friday from noon to 1 Eastern on the TuneIn app. And but Asher made a really good point. He said, "Man, you look at all these great matchups in the conference championship games in college football, and injuries really aren't a story. Like, all these teams are, we're in December, so guys are beat up, but relatively healthy. Don't mess that up by suspending guys because of a brawl. Like, come on, man. If I'm going to, there's degrees to this. I'm going to suspend a guy for a big game if he does something truly reprehensible. In any other case, man, let the kids play. Baker Mayfield kind of said it after the game, after the Buccaneers game yesterday, because they asked him about it. Because Baker Mayfield, they're calling him like the originator, the godfather of planting the flag, which he is. Oklahoma beat Ohio State in early 2016. I remember watching this game. I was at Calhoun's on the River in Knoxville after a Volunteers game. Or it might have been 2017, actually. It was 2016, 2017. And Baker Mayfield goes out there, waves the big OU flag, and then, bam, plants it at midfield at Ohio State. So he was kind of the originator. And so best person to ask is him. And they asked him after the Buccaneers win yesterday, and he's like, let the kids play. That's what we love about college football. The pageantry, the hatred, the rivalries. Don't take that away. Thanks so much for watching the show on YouTube, and be sure to go click that big red subscribe button and check out the other clips and full shows from Carving It Up Live, as well as our other incredible content creators here on the Grid Network.